explore the inner game of music in this segment. The Inner Game of Music came from Timothy Galway's famous books in the mid-70s from the Inner Game of Tennis. And I have applied his principles to the arts because the game we are playing is music. This game is about overcoming the obstacles that get in our way when somebody's keeping score, when someone's listening, when somebody's judging or criticizing us, and how can we stay connected with our music rather than become a prisoner and playing an outer game to all of these voices of doubt and fear. So I'd like to give you a demonstration, a short demonstration, playing my bass, and what happens to the artist when we hear this familiar voice that starts casting doubt and fear on all of the tools that we have learned to express ourselves as artists.
Come on, Barry. Settle down. Don't be so nervous. Make a fine impression.
Yeah, right. You've got a lot of covering up to do, BG.
Boy, you sound nervous. I know. Thanks for reminding me. You're playing out of tune. Yeah, I know. Maybe Mom was right.
Barry, I told you to practice this week, and you had to be watching Ally McBeal and all those ball games. You have to practice more, son.
This really sucks. I never goofed that up before. I wonder what Francois would say if he saw me now.
Barry, what are you doing? Your bone n'est pas straight. Relax your hand. It must be supple, supple. Straighten up. Fix the tone. Why you use that finger? And no. The sound is all wrong. I tell you this before and you no listen to me. Less pressure. More speed. Faster. Slower. Mon Dieu, c'est dommage. Vous êtes confusé.
I think I feel sick to my stomach.
So, have you ever heard that voice before in your head, coming in and distracting you from what you're playing, and taking you down a battle with yourself, where you're fighting your doubts and your concerns, and you hear the voices of your parents and your teachers, all taking you away from your concentration and doing what you normally do without any distractions whatsoever. And this is the goal of the inner game. The inner game has to do with just being at one with yourself and hearing no chatter whatsoever. Being able to turn away from those doubts and fears and those outer voices and just focus on the music. And the music has to do with three elements of awareness, commitment, and trust. Awareness having to do with what's going on in the music, commitment having to do with what has to happen with the music. How does it go, and how are we going to do this on the bass or the flute or the saxophone? And trust skills, which have to do with the real inspiration of the music, and we'll explain how that works shortly. This is all about music. The outer game has to do with doubt and fear and those voices that we heard on the demonstration. And the key to the inner game is learning the difference between inner games and outer games, and how to change your attention from battling with that voice into connecting and heightening your music instead through the skills of awareness, commitment, and trust. Our first master skill is the skill of awareness. Awareness has to do with what's going on in the moment in whatever we're doing. And we have four kinds of awareness that we explore in music. The first kind has to do with visual awareness. What could our attention be on that's a visual focus? Well, in music, we have our hands that we could be looking at. In many cases, it could be on the keyboard, it could be on an instrument. If we're singing, it could be the image of the process of singing in our throats. We have the music as a visual focus, where we could look at not only the notes moment by moments, but sometimes the contour of the shape of a phrase. We're creating a line or a certain visual shape that would follow and keep us in the moment. We have imagery that is possible as a visual focus, where we're dealing with a peaceful scene, so we can imagine a lake and having that very cool and very peaceful. If there's text and we're singing a song about a story, then we could put ourselves into the story and monitor that moment by moment. All of these awareness focuses, visual focuses, are wonderful focuses that put us in the present with our music and take us away from the doubts and the fears. We have sound focuses as well as visual focuses, sound being the second of the 4 awareness techniques. Sound has to do with just 4 elements, with volume, with timbre, with pitch, and with rhythm. And at any given moment, instead of listening to that voice, if you only listen to the change of dynamics or the timbre of the sound that you're creating, or monitoring the rhythm, these have to do with the music and will definitely develop our concentration and heighten our music at the same time. The third awareness technique has to do with feeling. And this is actually the most powerful and useful technique for overcoming anxiety that the inner game can offer to anyone. When we deal with feeling, there's 2 kinds of feeling. First of all, there's the tactile feeling, the feeling of touch in your fingertips, or of resistance of air against a mouthpiece, or within your body if you're singing. What is going on physically in terms of physical resonance and touch is one kind of feeling. And there's another kind of feeling that has to do with the feeling in the music. Feeling in the music as well as feeling in yourself. And when we're nervous, this is where this kind of feeling comes into play, because perhaps the music is very calm and peaceful, and yet we're feeling terror and excitement and paranoia in our body. And so those 2 are not the same, obviously. Or the reverse could be that the music is very exciting and we're feeling lethargic and tired, and we're not at the same energy of the level. And this great technique for the inner game for connecting with the music has to do with only paying attention in an awareness mode of what's going on inside yourself, and at the same time align that with what you understand is going on in the music. So when the music begins to build and get more exciting, that you have those same feelings in yourself. And when the music relaxes, you have that same feeling. The only challenge here is that we must be attuned to what's going on in the music. We must listen to the music for what energy is present, whether it's improvisation or whether it's written, and then at the same time be scanning our body and our own feelings so that we can bring those 2 together. The final technique of awareness has to do with understanding in the music. And the understanding is critical and quite different than on a tennis court, because we need to know the style, we need to know the tune, we need to know the harmony, we need to know the form. And as we pay attention to the tune as we're improvising, not letting that tune leave us is an example of being aware of what's going on with your harmony and what notes belong in the harmony, and just how we are going to bring that to life. The development of a section, going through different keys and different areas, all has to do with our nuts and bolts, knowing what we're doing and paying attention to that as we perform.